Hello and welcome to a new episode of Business Africa. I am Amelga. Coming up, quarterly investor conference, the Republic of Congo turns to agri-food processing projects. Renewable energies, Ivory Coast announces one of the largest solar power plants in the country and the region. We finish in Nigeria, which is revitalizing its agricultural sector as a matter of urgency. The Republic of Congo is looking for new investors to finance national agri-food processing projects. During the last quarterly conference, held in Pointe-Noire, its economic capital, a call for investment was launched for financiers in this sector, which represents a significant driver in the economic recovery, unfortunately identified as a secondary issue. The report by John David Mihamle and Eric Oteng.
Congolese entrepreneurs have developed a new mindset. The fall of oil prices, which is a mainstay of the Congolese economy, has shifted attention to the agro-industry, which previously was not the case. But banks are still hesitant in supporting the sector. Congolese banks tend to trust others more. They invest in other sectors, but never in agriculture. They invest in wood and oil, knowing very well they will make a lot of money from them. But today, we know one important thing. We cannot continue to rely solely on oil. Entrepreneurs are trying to transform what appears to be a weakness into an opportunity by directing their focus towards agro-business, which was once relegated to the background. But financing remains a major challenge. We have generated today a little more than $1.7 million, which will potentially be invested into projects that were presented today. It is the first step. More than $1.7 million is very good. But in terms of transforming agricultural projects, we should invest more into the sector. The fall of oil prices has brought to the forefront sectors of the Congolese economy that have been ignored, such as agriculture. There are no bets on agriculture to revive the Congolese economy. Hence, today's meeting in Pointe-Noire between entrepreneurs and bankers will see a reversal of fortunes. Banks are now embracing the idea of investing in the agricultural sector to boost food security. We have reviewed projects that need serious financial assistance in order to grow. Ideas that should result in action.
4,000 megawatts in 2020 and 6,600 by 2030. Ivory Coast has launched a vast project that will house the country's first solar power plant. Located in the north, the Bundiali power plant, with a maximum electrical capacity of 37.5 megawatts peak, will make Ivory Coast a leader in the energy sector in West Africa. Details by Ruth Lago and Elaine Wangalwa. The first solar power station in Ivory Coast will be funded by Germany and the EU as the West African country attempts to boost its use of renewable energy. Located in the north of the country, the proposed solar power station will have a power of 37.5 megawatt peak, the maximum electrical power. The plant in Bundiali will receive $31 million in funding from the KfW Public Investment Bank and $11.1 million from the European Union. Funding for this project is part of the Compact with Africa program, an initiative launched in March 2017 by the G20 countries under the German presidency. The program aims to promote private investment in the development of renewable energy in Africa. Ivory Coast is West Africa's leader in electricity production, 75% of which comes from thermal energy and the remainder from hydroelectric dams. Nevertheless, authorities want renewables to make up an 11% share of national consumption by 2020. The country also exports power to neighboring countries thanks to its 2.17 gigawatts of installed power generation capacity. To talk about it, let's reach Emmanuel Ajobi, a solar energy expert, by phone from Abidjan in Ivory Coast. Hello, Mr. Ajobi, and welcome to Business Africa.
Hello, Amel, and thank you for having me on Africa News.
Ivory Coast has decided to focus on renewable energies and announced its first solar power plant in 2020, which will be largely financed by Germany. As a solar energy expert, would you say that this is a natural project that should have been done sooner?
Of course, this project should have come a little earlier than that, because we all know that Africa has huge solar potential and that despite all our hydroelectric dams that we have, Ivory Coast is still energy insecure. I think that's a good reason to say that this project should have come earlier.
Renewable energy seems to be an obvious way to multiply the electrification rate in our countries. Will this solar power plant be the ultimate solution to strengthen the energy supply for the population?
Yes, of course. Of course. The construction of this power plant will still allow us to extend power to parts of Ivory Coast that don't have it. And it will allow us to offer certain things, such as dispensaries, infrastructure, and power them with solar energy. This formula will also provide training to people who live far from cities, because some people in remote areas do not have access to information and training. But solar energy, which does not need to build transmission lines here and there, is a good solution and very welcome.
Until the solar power plant is operational, private contractors have already grasped the potential of this sector in Abidjan and other cities. What is your assessment of the interest or demand for solar energy?
Yes, the balance sheet in general is very negative because the demand is real, but there's a huge lack of awareness. There's no promotion, and on top of that, the cost of access to renewable energy is really very high because of the import taxes. For example, to get solar equipment out of the port in Ivory Coast is really very complicated. It's complicated. It means that the average customer can't have access to renewable energy.
The question of financing infrastructure to develop renewable energies is an acute one. Do you see any interest on the part of banking or financial institutions in supporting operators in this area?
Of course. Of course. Of course, I think the government should still consider signing an agreement that will allow banks to finance various renewable energy projects so that the customer, the average customer, can have them and be free to pay for its installation, because we have started to do so with our external partners. We make sure that the customer can have access to our facilities for free even. And this customer takes his time because we are talking, and so he takes the time to tell us, here I am. I could pay this amount or that amount. And that is what we're asking the government in Ivory Coast to do. Banks are interested because imagine a company that may have a renewable energy project. The companies here do not have the means. They do not have the means because there is no way to approach a bank, and for the banks to disburse money, it is difficult. It is necessary that the state manages to make an arrangement to help not only the companies, but also to raise public awareness, because if the population is really sensitized, it is the people to know that they have easy access to renewable energy, and they will do more to embrace it.
Thank you, Emmanuel Ajobi, for these insights. Ajobi is an expert in solar energy online from Abidjan in Ivory Coast. After the break, we head to Nigeria, which has set up a system of rapid access to financing for farmers.